There you go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this quarterly meeting of the Tennessee Board of Regents on a warm Thursday, June 11. Welcome to all. Thank you for being here, and to those who may be watching us on the live stream. And just a reminder to the board, this meeting is live streamed and archived. First of all, a very special thanks to those who are hosting us these next 2 days. Nashville State Community College, where we have the privilege to be in this amazing facility today. The TCAT at Nashville, where we cut the ribbon on their new Allied Health Sciences building this morning, which was just amazing in and of itself. And to our friends at TCAT Dixon, to Laura Travis and her team, who are also doing a great job for our system. Just a couple of quick things I'd like to open with. We had a very special guest with us this morning, and that's Joey Hatch, former regent and good friend. And those of you who are around always remember Joey and I went to junior high school and high school together, and he had this habit of constantly reminding me how old I am. So it was with great pride that I told him that I had celebrated a special decade birthday and that he missed it, but I managed to remember my birthday without his assistance. But it was great to have him back, and Nathan had taken him through the TCAT Nashville during its construction, and as you guys know, that's just in his genes. He's a contractor at heart, being in that business for so long. So what a treasure for someone like Joey to stay attached to us and proud of our system and the role he played here, and we are equally proud to call him friend. In addition, I wanted to give just a quick update. Regent Nisha Powers is not with us today. I think some are aware, but obviously we've had some recent legislative changes which have meant some structural changes for us as a board. And while Nisha is currently no longer sitting on the Board of Regents, she has undertaken a very important post appointed by the governor to the new Educational Oversight Board for Shelby County Schools. So once again, our governor has recognized her tremendous talent and her wisdom, and we know she will do a phenomenal job in that role. There's still other nuances to these structural changes that we will continue to work through, but I do want to say profound thanks to the governor's office and Tyler Sloan in particular in the boards and commissions office for helping us through all of our appointments. He does a great job. To the Lieutenant Governor's office and the Speaker's office for working with us on our appointments as well to this distinguished board. And with regard to Regent Powers, at some point, obviously, we will find a way to salute her tremendous service to this organization. She is indeed one of our Tennessee treasures. I also want to recognize our newest regent, Clemisha Tumlin, who joins us from Chattanooga State as our new faculty regent. We've seen her on the screen in a previous meeting, but welcome again. We're just delighted that you're here, and you jumped in feet first this morning, so thank you. Thank you. And then finally, and Chancellor will talk more about this distinguished group tomorrow, the Chancellor's Fellows are with us today. Where are you guys? I've seen a few of you. There you are. Welcome. Levi tells me you all had your organizational meeting this morning and that went well, and they heard from the one and only Rich Rhoda to lay the groundwork about higher education in Tennessee. He again is a Tennessee treasure. We're always grateful to Rich. So we're grateful that you are here for our committee meetings this afternoon. You'll be back for the board meeting tomorrow. So take an opportunity to get to know us, and we'll look forward to catching up with you all as well over these next few hours. And tomorrow we will be hearing more on their good work. So with that, we have 5 committee meetings to get through this afternoon. We hope to make the best use of your time because we do have an evening event that I know everyone's looking forward to. So with that, Regent Spurgeon, would you begin the good work of the Academic Policies and Programs Committee, please, sir?
I sure will. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I'm calling the Committee on Academic Policies, Programs, and Student Life to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Regent Burdine.
Aye. Here.
Regent Davis. Regent Harriman.
Present.
Regent Richardson.
Here.
Chairman Spurgeon.
Here.
And Regent Tumlin.
Present.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
So on the consent agenda, we have two items. One is proposed TBR policy 6.04.01.00. That is accommodations for pregnant students, and a proposed AAS program in neurodiagnostic technology at Chattanooga State Community College. Members were briefed on these items at the May 27th committee chairs meeting. General Counsel Brian Lapps and Vice Chancellor Jonathan E. Reed are available to answer any questions. So are there any questions from the committee? Hearing none, I will call for a motion.
Move for approval. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? So there is a motion and we need a voice vote, and we're ready to roll.
All committee members in favor can say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Number two is accreditation summary report and overview of 2024-2025. For the informational accreditation summary report and overview 2024-2025, I will call on Vice Chancellor Jonathan E. Reed.
Good to see you all. Thank you, Regent. Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor Tidings, and members of the board. It's my pleasure to present to you a routine annual report on accreditation for both the community colleges as well as the TCATs. So I won't go through all the detail because you have all the materials in front of you, but I just want to do a high-level update. Let's start with the community colleges. And again, we'll talk about institutional accreditation as well as programmatic accreditation. And again, the value in accreditation for all of our colleges is that they are receiving an independent external review that really clarifies their institutional effectiveness and the quality of their programs. The good news is that everyone is in good standing, and so the colleges who are really doing the heavy lifting are in a great space for that. For the community colleges in the institutional area, all 13 of our community colleges are continually monitored and comply with standards related to SAC-COC, who is their accrediting body. And all 13 institutions have submitted a variety of compliance documents, such as their fifth-year interim reports, decennial reports, substantive changes, and monitoring reports. For program accreditation of the community colleges, we had a total of 108 accreditation-related activities in this last year. So the college's presidents keep accreditation at the front of mind, and their faculty are very engaged in making sure this work is happening. There are 22 accredited programs in TBR community colleges who've all received notice of accreditation, reaffirmation or continuing accreditation in 2024-25. And again, we look at the academic audit, which includes a self-study, peer review process, and feedback. We had 21 academic programs go through this review, and they're all in good standing. And then we had a total multiple 6 programs undergo program review. So community colleges are doing great work in ensuring the effectiveness of their programs. I want to highlight briefly our TCAT accreditation. All 24 of our TCATs continuously monitor and comply with standards related to accreditation for COE, who is their accrediting body. Some high-level updates that I want to highlight for you is that the merge of TCAT Upper Cumberland and TCAT Livingston received final approval. In this year, TCAT Crossville was also approved for a name change to Upper Cumberland. TCAT Dixon received final affirmation. Several TCATs, Knoxville, Oneida, and Shelbyville, received COE approval for substantive changes to establish new instructional service centers. TCATs Jackson and Northwest received their COE approval to establish off-campus locations, and all the TCATs submitted their CEO annual reports in December. For program accreditation for the TCATs, TCATs participate in a total of 9 program accreditation related activities, and all have received notice of reaffirmation. So again, this is just an annual update to you all to let you know that the colleges are very intentional about the quality of their programs, and they are excelling and meeting the expectations of their independent accrediting bodies. Are there any questions?
Fantastic report, Dr. Reed. Any questions at all, Matt?
All right, thank you.
Need a motion? Do we need a motion to approve that, or? No? Okay.
I think with that, we need to get this committee out of the way.
Well, there you go.
I think we do. So that was our last agenda item. So if there's any further business to come before the committee, let me know. If not, hearing none, we stand adjourned.
Thank you, sir. Well done. Great accreditation report to the whole team. With that, Regent White's going to do some double duty this afternoon, but we'll begin, Mr. Chairman, with the Finance Committee.
Great. So I'm going to call the Committee on Finance and Business Operations to order and ask Secretary Perry to please call the roll.
Regent Bradshaw.
Here.
Regent Branscombe.
Here.
Regent George.
Here.
Regent Harrell. Regent Kastner.
Here.
Chairman White.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Great. Since we have a quorum, we'll proceed. We have four items to work through. The first item is the consent agenda, which includes policy revisions covered at our May 27th committee chairs meeting. And a list of all the policy revisions was included in your advance materials. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Thank you, Regent Bradshaw. And this is going to require a voice vote. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. So that motion passes. The second agenda item is the review and consideration of the academic year 2027 tuition and fee recommendations. And for that, I'll call on Executive Vice Chancellor Fox, who is already at the microphone.
I was trying to get up here quick.
There you go.
Thank you, Chairman White, Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor, and members of the committee. Next slide, please. The first item on our finance agenda today is the academic year 26-27 tuition and fee recommendations. As you will recall, we previewed this at length during the committee chairs meeting, and supplementary documents were included in your materials in advance of today's meeting. Next slide, please. We will first discuss the non-mandatory fee request for the colleges as shown on this slide. This recommendations include the reduction of one fee, the online course fee, for all community colleges currently charging it, and the approval of 3 miscellaneous non-mandatory course fees for Dyersburg, Northeast, and Roane State. Staff have reviewed these requests and find them to be reasonable and recommend for approval. Next slide, please. We will now move into the mandatory fee request. The first 2 requests are to increase the TAF, or Technology Access Fee, at both the community colleges and the TCATs. The third request is campus-specific to Nashville State, and it is a request to establish an international education fee. Staff have reviewed these requests and find them reasonable and recommend for approval. Next slide, please. Moving now into the maintenance tuition recommendations. This slide is showing you the academic year 27 maintenance tuition percent increase recommendation by sector and the total revenue estimated to be generated by that change. You can see a recommendation of 3.2% for the community college sector and 3% for the TCAT sector. Next slide, please. The following slides show the credit hour and trimester rate change in dollars for community colleges and TCATs respectively. As you can see here, a 3.2% tuition increase results in approximately $6 per credit hour increase up to 12 hours at the community colleges for in-state tuition. Out-of-state increases approximately $11 per credit hour up to 12 hours. Tennessee E-Campus, $2, E-Rate, $3, and dual enrollment follows the in-state recommendation, an increase of 3.2%, which you can see on this slide. The percent varies slightly from 3.2% when translated to per semester credit dollar hours. Next slide, please. And this slide shows the 3% tuition increase results in a $42 trimester rate change for the TCATs. Next slide. And lastly, this table, which is a little bit of an eye chart, shows you the dollar amount change as well as the percent combined rate change broken down by individual school for the community colleges. The average annual combined maintenance plus mandatory fee increase at the community colleges is 3.65%. You will note that the combined totals differ slightly among the community colleges due to any mandatory fees that were previously approved and already being assessed. And you will see the annual increase combined for the TCATs at the bottom of this chart at 3.64%. Next slide. And that concludes the review of the academic year maintenance tuition and fee request. TBR staff recommend approval of the recommendation of mandatory fees, non-mandatory fees, and maintenance tuition for academic year 27 as presented. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? If not, I'd like to make a motion to approve the academic year 2027 tuition and fee recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you for the second. And this requires a roll call vote. So Secretary Perry, could you please call the roll?
Regent Bradshaw,
Aye.
Regent Branscombe,
Aye.
Regent George,
Aye.
Regent Kastner,
Aye.
Chairman White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. So our next agenda item is the review and consideration of the proposed operating budgets for the 2026-2027 fiscal year and approval of the final estimated budgets for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. And Executive Vice Chancellor Fox, you are ready to roll.
Perfect. And I will say we didn't preview this one at committee chair, so this one is a little longer, but I have tried to make it pretty brief for you all. So now we'll move into the routine review and consideration of approval of the FY26 estimated budget and the FY27 proposed budget for the TBR system. Supplementary documents were included in your materials in advance of today's meeting. In the interest of time, I will not read every data point on the following slides, but I'll highlight key points as we move through this presentation. Next slide. Before we dive into the budget information, I want to briefly review the budget process. Working within the institution's shared governance process, each president has the responsibility and full authority to propose a budget to the chancellor and the board. Colleges generally receive the draft operating state appropriation amount recommended for their institution and the governor's budget proposal in the spring each year. The recommendation in the governor's budget is normally determined based on THEC's funding formula outcomes. Colleges use this information to make some calculated assumptions when preparing their proposed budget. Depending on the timing of THEC's meeting to set the binding tuition range, campuses may have to assume a flat tuition rate as the proposed budget is being developed. Other assumptions include changes in enrollment, workforce development activity, and grant activity. Colleges follow their own internal process for budget development. This will often include input and requests from department budget managers on campus, budget hearings with campus leadership, and will conclude with decisions by campus leadership that reflect the priorities of their individual institutions. This process normally starts in January and February and concludes when the colleges submit their budgets to the TBR system in early May. TBR staff then review and consolidate the budget information and present it to this board. After board approval, the budget is forwarded to THEC as well as Finance and Administration. We prepare 3 budgets each year at our colleges. These budgets include the proposed or May original budget, the revised or October budget, and the estimated budget. You're on the right slide. Thank you, Carol. Today, I'm presenting 2 of these 3 budgets for your action. Today, we have the estimated current budget for FY26, as well as the proposed budget for FY27. The estimated budget is the last budget for the current fiscal year. It includes final adjustments to the current year budget and is the budget against what final year-end actual amounts will be compared. The proposed budget is based on the level of state funds recommended in the governor's proposed budget, as well as early estimates of factors such as enrollment growth and availability of federal funds. The proposed budget does not recognize factors such as changes in the level of grant or revenue contract activity or final adjustments required by state budget action. The revised October budget is presented to the board in December. That budget will take these and other changes into account. The following slides will provide a high-level summary comparing FY27 proposed budget to the current year FY26 estimated budget and the differences between the two. As I noted earlier, I'm not going to read you all the info on these slides, but I will highlight some of the notable changes on each slide. As a general rule, TBR staff considers a 10% change in either direction as our established threshold, and we do not require colleges to provide detailed explanations for changes that do not meet this threshold. So the first slide we're looking at here will review, shows a comparison of the current year FY26 estimated revenue versus the FY27 proposed revenue, showing the year-over-year change. As we do not have any changes meeting that 10% threshold, I'll just draw your attention to the overall revenue change from estimated to proposed, and that shows a 2% increase. Next slide, please. Slide 14 moves into expenses. This chart shows unrestricted education in general expenditures by classification. Classifications include personnel, travel, operating, and capital outlay. As you can see at the bottom, the overall increase in expenditures from 26 to 27 is 3%, which includes a 1.5% salary increase for all employees. Next slide. Slide 15 shows proposed FY27 expenditures in a percent format by function rather than a comparison between the 2 years. This slide is intended to provide a picture of where the money is being spent. As you would expect, the majority is spent on instruction at 44%, followed by institutional support at 23%, student services at 12%, operations and maintenance at 12%, academic support at 7%, and scholarships at 2%. Next slide. This slide provides a summary comparing FY26 and FY27 unrestricted fund expenditures, including auxiliaries and transfers. Examples of auxiliaries are things like bookstore or food service. A 5% overall decrease in expenditure is reflected when auxiliaries and transfer funds are included. Transfers decrease significantly for proposed, and we'll discuss that on the next slide. Next slide, please. And this slide breaks down the transfer activity or transfer of carryover funds from the previous fiscal year. Transfers represent funds internally transferred from unallocated, unrestricted education in general to reserve accounts, including retirement of indebtedness, unexpended plant, and renewal and replacement. These are non-recurring funds. Normally, these carryover funds are budgeted as a transfer to plant funds in the October revised budget or in the estimated budget for non-recurring investment in capital projects, physical plant, and equipment. The reduction you see in the proposed FY27 budget is normal, as colleges start their year conservatively and would not know what their carry-forward amount would be until fiscal year end close. Following the timeline mentioned previously, we would expect to see that these numbers would increase in the revised or estimated budgets for FY27. Transfers to reserve are common and expected of our colleges to remain fiscally responsible. Next slide, please. This chart, also an eye chart, I apologize, shows a change in beginning fund balance to ending fund balance in the FY27 proposed budget. The overall net change is shown as a decrease of $17 million, but that is primarily attributed to the institutions budgeting those internal transfers of carryover funds to plant funds. So they're transferring from unrestricted to restricted. When we look strictly at unrestricted revenues versus expenses, excluding those transfers, the colleges show a positive net change of approximately $18.4 million. Next slide, please. And this slide summarizes the total number and type of authorized positions for FY27. With approval of this budget, the board will be authorizing a grand total positions for the system of 7,545, an increase of 3.5% compared to FY26. Next slide. And this slide provides a final summary of the FY26 estimated and FY27 proposed budgets, including position counts that are before you today for approval. However, before we ask for your approval, we do need to include some information related to the locally governed institutions, or the LGI budgets. As you are aware, these are the 6 public universities that are not part of the UT system. Next slide, please. And as you will recall, under the Focus Act, we are required to consider the LGI budgets, and that consideration is limited to those matters that are necessary to fulfill existing debt covenants, representations, agreements, and obligations under financing agreements entered into with the Tennessee State School Bond Authority. Next slide, please. And so to that end, university budgets have been received and reviewed in accordance with TBR Policy 4.01.00.05, consideration of university budgets, and have been determined to meet debt service coverage requirements, have been found to be mathematically correct and internally consistent, and universities have certified compliance with the required representations. Except as noted above, no other judgments have been made regarding university budgets. Next slide, please. Chairman, university budgets are recommended for approval as being in compliance with the above TBR policy. Additionally, staff recommend approval of the FY26 estimated budget and the FY27 proposed budget for the system office, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposed operating budgets for the 26-27 fiscal year and approval of the final estimated budgets of the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, this requires a roll call vote, so Secretary Perry, please call the roll.
Regent Bradshaw,
Aye.
Regent Branscombe.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Chairman White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. So the final agenda item is the review and consideration of the capital budget recommendations for the 2027-2028 fiscal year. And Executive Director Dick Tracy is at the microphone and ready.
Thank you. Excuse me. Today we've got the three capital budget request categories that we want to present for your consideration. The three classifications are our capital outlay requests, our capital maintenance projects, and our project disclosures. These recommendations are done in accordance with THEC and the F&A's requirements. All right, so our 12 capital outlay projects recommended are shown on the screen, what you have in front of you. The recommended projects address TBR's priorities of workforce industry training and fall into two broad categories of new buildings, driving enrollment, and the replacement of outdated facilities. And the total estimated submission is $704,760,000. Please note that over the summer, TBR staff will continue evaluating and programming these 12 projects with the campuses, which may result in minor adjustments to the project scopes and estimated costs. We've also identified an additional projects that are considered out-year projects that we would include in our 5-year estimate, and these are shown on page 3. The next slide is our capital match program. As we mentioned earlier, we're recommending the 12 projects, and these projects require a match from the community colleges, 4% for new construction, 2% for renovations. There's not a match requirement for the TCATs, and adjusting the match requirements, the capital outlay request is $608,266,600. Institutions need the minimum match to be evaluated, and the match components will receive a pass-fail designation. On page 4, it's important that we can maintain our existing facilities, and we need to continue making funding of capital maintenance a high priority. With approximately 12.5 million square feet of educational general space currently across 36 campuses, as well as numerous extension and off-campus operations, we have a constant and growing need for capital maintenance funding. We'll also have a net gain of about 1 million square feet once the new 29 projects are funded and fully online. We've worked carefully on this list to address the major needs of our systems in a meaningful way. The capital maintenance funding formula produces an annual TEC target of $80,770,000. The annual target number is a level of capital maintenance funding for our buildings and infrastructure that we need to strive for next year. We're recommending 30 projects for the fiscal year of 2027-2028. These projects totaled $82,571,500. In addition to the annual renewal request, there were 22 additional maintenance projects submitted by our campuses for a total of $70,527,000. The total of all submitted capital maintenance projects was $153,098,500. The next slide shows a 5-year estimate for capital outlay and maintenance. An allocation for capital maintenance shown along the years produces a 5-year total of over $2.8 billion for the capital budget estimate. The project disclosures, we're informed of one project disclosure from a campus who will look to locally fund a project over $10 million. This is the Columbia State Community College for new enrollment and admission services building. Any projects that are locally funded and are over $10 million must be disclosed in the governor's budget or subsequent amendment. This slide gives you a recap of the staff's recommendation for the 27-28 capital budget request for a total of $787,331,500. These recommendations are presented for your consideration and approval. Chairman White, that completes the staff's presentation of the capital budget recommendations to this committee.
Thank you. Any questions? Questions? Go ahead.
Mr. Tracy, thank you. On that disclosed project at Columbia State, what is the local funding for it? Where is it coming from?
It's plant funds.
Let's go. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to approve the recommendations?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. And this also requires a roll call vote, so Secretary Perry, off to you.
Regent Bradshaw.
Aye.
Regent Branscombe.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Kastner,
Aye.
Chairman White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Dick. So this completes our agenda for today. Is there any other business to come before the committee? If not, without objection, the Committee on Finance and Business Operations stands adjourned.
Thank you, sir. And I just want to take a moment to say thanks to you and to the committee members. I know we were all briefed at committee chairs, and your team, all of us, I think, were offered the opportunity for an additional briefing. Your folks took good advantage of that. So everybody came well prepared, having studied, having had an opportunity not to deliberate, certainly prior to our meeting, but to be fully briefed. So thanks for taking the time to take us through that. And for those of you who, for example, are fellows who have not been to a meeting before, it looks like we're moving pretty quickly on some things, but it doesn't mean there was a whole lot of groundwork laid prior to. So just so folks are aware. Thank you. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's do it. Personnel and compensation.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm calling the Committee on Personnel and Compensation of the Tennessee Board of Regents to order. So, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Regent Burdine,
Here.
Regent Stevenson, and Chairman White.
Aye. Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Great, thank you. So we'll proceed with the first agenda item, and we have 8 agenda items to work through. But that is the approval of the minutes from the special called meeting on May 27th, 2026. So are there any questions on that or comments on the, or corrections on the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve those?
Move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second? Looking for a second.
Regent White, would you like to offer that as a second?
That's right. Second.
Only 2 of us, yeah.
Yes, well, don't you go anywhere. I promise I won't go anywhere.
You either.
Yeah. So I'll second this one. And this is going to require a roll call vote. So Mariah, off to you.
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. All right. Second one is the fiscal year 27 President Emeritus contracts and General Counsel Labs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the President Emeritus contracts, you're being asked to renew the appointments for 6 Presidents Emeriti. As a reminder, only presidents who began service as president prior to 2002 are eligible to receive compensation as President Emeritus. So the 6 that you'll see on the next slide are the only ones who are eligible or will be eligible going forward. Going forward, the title will be an honorific only. Each of the emeriti listed in your materials has submitted a report detailing the work that he or she has done on behalf of the college in the current fiscal year. And for fiscal year 2027, each of them has met with the sitting president. They've agreed on a list of duties that the emeritus or emerita will perform in fiscal year 2027. The president has recommended renewal of the contract, and the rate of pay is determined by the system office. Thus, the statutory and policy prerequisites for your approving the contracts for fiscal year 2027 have been met.
Any questions? So if not, I'd like to make the motion to approve the President Emeritus contracts. Is there a second?
I'd like to second.
All right, thank you, sir. So we will need a roll call vote. Mariah, off to you.
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Third item is the faculty emeriti recommendations, and I'm going to call on Vice Chancellor Jothany Reed for the recommended proposals.
Thank you. Good to see you again. I'm always happy to celebrate our faculty who have contributed so much to the lives of our students and to Tennessee. So at this time, just to give you all some background, again, we have a policy that governs this process around faculty emeriti. The college presidents are the ones who nominate this candidate based on exceptional service to the college. They may also confer with other staff on the campus, but this truly is solely a president's decision. Although there's no specific criteria for emeriti, presidents tend to offer non-monetary options such as ID card with honorary benefits, an office, library privileges, access to art or to the sports team. And again, they tend to base these awards significantly primarily on length of service, contribution to the college and the community, academic achievement, as well as embodiment of institutional values. So at this time, we would like to celebrate our faculty who are being recognized for this or recommended to you all. Our first one is Lori Campbell, Professor of Education from Walter State Community College. Our next recommendation is Kay Heck. She's Associate Professor of English from Walter State Community College. And then our third recommendation is Malcolm McAvoy, Associate Professor of Communication at Walter State Community College. These are our recommendations to move forward. Our committee has reviewed this and we're recommending approval.
Move for approval.
Sorry, beat me to it. So we got a motion. I will second, and this is going to require a voice vote. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We pass. So the next agenda item is the tenure and promotion recommendations at community colleges and TCATs. So these next two items relate to promotion and tenure recommendations at the community colleges and TCATs. And General Counsel Lapps confirmed that we can consider the recommendations together with one vote. With that, I'd like to call back on Vice Chancellor Jonathan E. Reed for the recommended proposals.
You know I wasn't ready to leave you, so I'm still here.
I knew you weren't going anywhere.
So we're always excited to recognize again our faculty who are exceptional not only across Tennessee but across this nation. And our tenure and our promotion process are one of the ways that we recognize their excellence. What I want to emphasize is this is a very robust institutional process, and there's a lot of thought and committee work that has gone into these recommendations coming to you. Again, academic tenure is a status that is granted by the community college that is going to provide a faculty member with the presumption of continued employment after a rigorous probationary period and a comprehensive review. If you look at the process, it is very involved. It starts with new faculty being mentored by seasoned faculty. It also includes faculty collecting their artifacts around teaching, service, and scholarship. And then they actually go through an application process as part of demonstrating evidence of their work. There's also multiple committee reviews at the college level. There's a peer review process of faculty in their discipline that looks at the work that they're doing. And there's also a campus committee that reviews that. From there, it moves to an administrative process where it starts with the chair of that department, that academic dean, goes up to the vice president for academics, and ultimately to the president before it comes here to the chancellor, to the board for approval. So this is something that the colleges take very seriously, and they put a great deal of effort, and it can easily run about an 18-month process from beginning to end just for the application. So I do want to highlight that. As we look again at this work, again, this is about faculty demonstrating excellence in three areas: teaching, service, both at the institution and within the community, and scholarship. Each community colleges also have their own policy that is aligned to TBR's policy around tenure. This year, we are recommending the community colleges 55 community college faculty for tenure with one tenure by exception. When we look at community college promotion, I'll move over to there. This is where the faculty have the opportunity to earn the ranks of assistant professor, associate professor, and professor. And again, advancing in rank is not about time at the college. This is about demonstrated evidence of teaching, service, and scholarship as well, and that they meet the standards for promotion. Each community college also has an aligned policy around the promotion process. System-wide for community college promotion, we're bringing forward 163 faculty members for promotion as a recommendation. I will move over to the TCAT recommendations for promotion and tenure as well. We do not have any faculty tenure recommendations for this cycle for the TCATs, but for promotion, as we look at their area, they also go through a rigorous process. In their process, those supporting documents are reviewed by that TCAT president, who certifies them as having met their institutional standards. And then again, they're reviewed by my office, and we're endorsing these for favorable consideration here by the board. We are recommending 59 TCAT faculty promotions, and you can see they're divided into the various ranks of instructor, senior instructor, and master instructor 2. Again, no tenure in this particular cycle. Those are our recommendations for promotion and tenure at both the TCATs and community college, and this does require a vote.
Great. Any questions? If not, I'd like to make a motion for the community college and TCAT promotion and tenure requests. Is there a second?
I'd like to second it.
Thank you, sir. This is a voice vote, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Nope. So the motion passes. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, so the next agenda item is the review and approval of faculty promotion increases. And for this, I'll call on Executive Vice Chancellor Alicia Fox for the recommended proposals.
Thank you, Chairman White. Happy to be up here again. Before you now for consideration are the salary increases that go along with the faculty promotions that Dr. Reed just presented. You should have the details of those increases in your advanced materials. Next slide, please. In summary, the community college increases total $470,023 for the 163 promotions, and the TCAT increases total $273,882 for the 59 promotions. TBR staff has verified the proposed ranks of the individuals submitted for promotion by the institutions and ensured a corresponding increase for those that were eligible. I'll be happy to answer any questions about these recommendations.
Nope. So moved.
This requires a roll call vote, right?
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Chairman White. Motion carries.
Aye, sorry about that. Next is the institutional request for new and amended compensation plans. And Alicia, you're already up there.
So next on the agenda, compensation plans. In accordance with TBR Guideline P.043, compensation, the following proposed compensation methodology have been submitted for approval and were included in your materials. All new plans, as well as plan updates, were guided by our third-party consultant, Performance Point. Next slide, please. The submissions include the following institutions: Nashville State, Roane State, and Southwest. In summary, Nashville State is proposing an update to their current compensation plan, which adds a minimum salary threshold for all faculty and staff positions. Roane State is proposing a revision to their existing plan to be more flexible to meet market changes, including specialized faculty ranges in high-demand fields. And Southwest is proposing an update to their current plan, including adding more flexibility to meet market changes on both the faculty and staff side. The revised compensation plans were reviewed within the system office by our committee of 5 individuals from the offices of Finance, Academic Affairs, Policy and Strategy, and 2 individuals from Human Resources. The committee reviewed the proposed plans for methodology, market data being used, equity, consistency, completeness, and clarity. After reviewing the proposed plans, the committee respectfully recommends board approval of the proposed revisions of these compensation plans. Happy to answer questions.
Great. Any questions?
No questions.
All right, so I'd like to make the motion this time to approve the plans as presented. Is there a second?
I'd like to second
All
it.
right, we got a second. So again, this requires a roll call vote. So Mariah?
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Chairman White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, on to the 7th item. This is the locally funded adjustments, and Vice Chancellor Fox, you are already there. Go ahead.
All right. So at the May 2026 special session of the Personnel and Comp Committee, the committee authorized a compensation strategy that included the ability for our institutions to submit proposals for additional across-the-board increases, payments on their comp plan, and/or faculty promotion increases using uncommitted local funds if they had the capacity to do so. Staff received and evaluated compensation salary adjustment proposals from 5 colleges as outlined in your advanced materials and on the following slides. Next slide, please. This slide shows the individual colleges and the proposals that they submitted. Each card is showing the total salary amount of budgeted salaries and benefits per institution prior to the adjustment, the proposed compensation adjustment amount, and then the new total salary and benefits amount with the proposed adjustment included. The top center header shows the percent change these adjustments have on their overall salary budget. In addition, each card shows you a breakdown of which of the comp strategies the colleges use toward these adjustments. These have been evaluated and reviewed by the system office staff and are recommended for the board's approval. And happy to answer questions about these.
Great. Questions?
No questions.
All right, so you want to get this motion?
Move for approval.
All right, and I'll second. And this requires a roll call vote. So Madam Secretary, over to you.
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Chairman White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. So the final item, Alicia, don't go anywhere, is the executive incentive payments. I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving. My final agenda item, executive incentive payments. The Executive Performance Incentive Plan was approved at the June 2013 board meeting. It was created at the request of board members to address the gap between the average market salaries for presidents and the chancellor and their current compensation level for these officials. The plan provides an opportunity for leaders to earn up to 10% of the market value of their respective position on an annual basis, based on institutional and individual performance. 85% of that 10% is metric-based, and 15% of the 10% is discretionary-based. The incentive payment does not add to the base salary for these positions and is recalculated each year based on established performance metrics. Participants in the plan include the presidents of our community colleges, our TCATs, and the chancellor. A separate attachment for the college presidents and chancellors was included in your advanced materials. Chair White, this completes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Great. Questions?
No questions.
All right. So I'll make this motion to approve.
And I'll second it.
All right, we got a second. And again, this requires a roll call vote. So Madam Secretary, over to you.
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Chairman White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Is there any further business to come before the committee? Hearing none, the Committee on Personnel and Compensation for the Tennessee Board of Regents stands adjourned.
Hey, Tom, at dinner tonight, I think we ought to pat each other on the back.
We will. We definitely will. And I'm going to enjoy a little piece of chocolate to recover from that.
Thank you for handling that so efficiently. And again, there was a tremendous amount of groundwork laid prior to today, but much appreciated to you both. With that, Regent Kastner and I have torn ourselves away from that delicious cookie table outside of lunch today, and I believe he's ready now to chair the External Affairs Committee.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I'm calling the Committee on External Affairs to order. Secretary Perry, please call the roll.
Regent Harrell, Regent Harriman,
Present.
Chairman Kastner,
Here,
and Regent Spurgeon.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
then we will proceed. I'd like to call Executive Vice Chancellor for External Affairs, Kim McCormick, for an informational update on the TBR System Office website project.
Well, thank you, Regent Kastner. Good afternoon, Chairman Kastner, External Affairs Committee, members of the board, and Chancellor Tidings. We are excited to bring you a few updates from the Office of External Affairs today. Our goal is to give you as much information as possible in the shortest amount of time. So I'm sure we're going to be able to do that. We're really thrilled to kick off the TBR System Office website rebuild project. Our team is currently conducting a comprehensive evaluation of the existing website structure, content, navigation, and overall user experience as we begin building a completely new site from the ground up. The goal is to modernize how TBR shares information and engages with audiences across the state. The new website will emphasize accessibility, streamlined navigation, visual storytelling, and a more user-friendly experience for students, employees, legislators, the media, and external partners. As part of the process, we'll review existing content, identify opportunities to simplify and improve the site structure, and develop a more cohesive digital presence that better reflects the mission and the work of our system. As you all know, with Dr. Deaton's team, we have a very robust data dashboard that we feel that it should be better highlighted and at the forefront of the new site. And this will be a significant project that we take on throughout this year. We look forward to sharing updates with you all as the work progresses and over the next coming months. Are there any questions on this item? If not, Regent Kastner, we will move on if you would.
Right. Our next item on the agenda is ceramic tile workforce development marketing.
Okay, and so this is another exciting topic, and I know that sounds weird to say that ceramic tile is exciting, but it is. We've already told you all about ceramic tile, about the ball clay, and about the different factories in Middle Tennessee. But what I want to highlight today is not necessarily that history of ceramic tile, but I want to tell you about what we're doing with marketing. A part of the workforce pipeline funding includes marketing on the community college technical programs. And our award-winning government and public relations team, I have to say that because they really are. They just won a lot recently at the state competition. Led by ABC Williams, has been hard at work doing just that. Their latest work includes marketing our programs that support that ceramic tile industry. and the manufacturing industry, and that work has been led by Doug Kuffner. Now, I want to tell you about Doug Kuffner for just a moment. Doug comes to us from the Secretary of State's office. He is our Director of Strategic Communication for the Workforce Pipeline. He was Director of Communications for Secretary Hargett. I did ask permission to steal him before I took him. Before that, he was Director of Communications for the Speaker of the House, the Tennessee State Speaker of the House. Before that, he was Director of Communications for the House Republican Caucus. Before that, he spent many years in the television media industry in the state of Tennessee. So he comes to us with a great deal of experience, and he has led the charge on this particular marketing campaign. As you all know, we have several going on right now, a campaign for adult learners, but this is one that I really want him to be able to take a second to highlight for you. So Regent Kastner, if you would allow me to bring up Doug Kuffner at this time. Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you, Dr. McCormick. Good afternoon, Chairman Kastner, members of the board, and Chancellor Tidings. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you here today. As you are aware, the ceramic tile industry was identified as one of our priority workforce development sectors last fall. And to support the launch of our new tile manufacturing operating program in August, we've engaged in a targeted marketing campaign to promote our program, TBR's role in building a workforce to meet the demands of this emerging industry sector, and to share more about the industry's impact in Tennessee. We've worked with the Tile Council of North America in recent weeks to support recruitment and enrollment efforts for our new program at our technical colleges. One resource is the new tbr.edu tile microsite. This site is now live, and the goal and purpose of the site is to once again inform students about the new program and to share more about ceramic tile in Tennessee. This sector is one that I think really showcases the versatility of our economy. Many people are not aware of our role in ceramic tile and how successful it is here, as well as the benefits of a career in ceramic tile manufacturing. So in addition to the microsite, we've also developed a paid advertising campaign featuring billboards, search engine marketing, and digital social media advertising. The targeted demographics for this campaign are the underemployed or unemployed ages 18 to 35 in the school service areas. Billboards are also up in the communities close to those campuses where the program is set to launch later in August. In the next couple of weeks, we are going to take to social media as well, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and other channels to support enrollment efforts at TCAT Dixon, TCAT Hohenwald, and TCAT Upper Cumberland. There are also campus recruitment kits that are ready that the schools will utilize as well. These include a recruitment one-pager, tablecloths, banners, and giveaways for future recruitment efforts. Now, to represent the ingredients of ceramic tile, we thought it would be fun or memorable to include a Play-Doh kit as the giveaway with our TCAT logo on the container, just to basically draw in students and to give them something memorable to get them interested. Lastly, we're planning earned media opportunities with both local newspapers and radio stations in the communities where these programs will launch. We're also working with Chris Cannon from the Department of Labor. Chris has a contract with News Channel 5 State of the Workforce. Many of you in Middle Tennessee have probably seen that. And that was a very successful avenue for us in the nuclear energy campaign. We feel confident that that will also be successful for our ceramic tile campaign. Now, before I wrap up, I wanted to share a couple of social media videos that we had produced as part of this campaign. The first one featuring Commissioner McWhorter and Dr. Tidings discussing the industry, workforce development, and TBR's role in training workers.
There's something unique about being made in Tennessee, and it's the people of Tennessee. The tile industry, it's very critical to the state of Tennessee. We have several things in our favor. 90% of ceramic tile produced in the U.S. contains Tennessee ball clay. 70% of the U.S. population in a day's drive. And the last is workforce.
Tennessee Board of Regents is always on the lookout for industry development, industry expansion within the state, and also in recruiting new industry to come into the state. We need to be training for what the industry needs immediately.
Governor Lee has made it a priority to invest in our workforce. We continue to do that, partnering with TBR and ways in which we can customize some training.
I'm very proud of the new tile manufacturing operation program that's going to begin in the fall. So this training is high quality. It provides the opportunity for them to be employed almost immediately in high quality, high performing jobs.
These are great global brands with a strong reputation of working well with their staff. Because of the advances in technology that the ceramic industry has been utilizing, what a great opportunity for an individual to become part of that growth.
Our instructors are hired from business and industry, so they have experience already in the field. That gives our students a real edge because they know what to expect.
A lot of these companies are located in a lot of our growing rural areas of our state, and that's providing opportunity at the local level, keeping families close to where they grew up so they're not having to leave and find work elsewhere. They're finding good work, high-paying jobs, and mobility, growth mobility that can last the generation for a family.
I would encourage students to always see this training as an investment in their future, in their family's future, and in their community's future.
And now for the second video, this will feature members of the Tile Council and industry leaders discussing the benefits of the tile industry and the need for skilled workers.
Ceramic tile has been a unique material because it's able to combine technical performances, sustainability, along with a unique possibility to contribute to the design of the spaces where this is installed.
Commercially, residentially, and for remodel, it's the best and most desired product.
You can find our products, some of the most famous buildings all over the world. We need a skilled workforce because they have to be trained on our machineries just to control the machinery. And this is even more important because our machinery is not a standard machinery.
Gaps are prevalent in the ceramic tile manufacturing workforce. The workforce is aging out. These are manufacturing environments, and the productivity of making tile is an everyday, every shift operation. The fundamental part of the Tennessee Tile Valley is the value of the TCAT schools, where young people can attend in a local area close to the tile manufacturing plant. Having people trained and learn how to do this before they hit the production line live is a great value, a great benefit to making solid, safe, long-term projects here for employees to come in and make a career.
Having more and more people that will approach our industry with the idea of joining this industry, not just to have a job, but just to build something that will make them proud.
It's creative, it's solid, it's durable. We're very excited about the ceramic tile industry in Tennessee and the future growth that will come. We need new young people to make a career of this business in the Tennessee Tile Valley. Build a career, come join the tile industry in Tennessee.
That concludes my presentation, and I stand ready for questions.
That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Wow, very impressive.
Thank you.
So I understand that there's a delegation from the TBR that's going to be in Italy and maybe calling on some of these tile companies?
Yes, sir. That's my understanding as well.
Very good.
I'd just like to add, as someone that works in the economic development field, and I think Regent Burdine, before he leaves, would agree with this real quick, but TBR and Department of Economic and Community Development have always worked together at a grassroots level and then at the highest levels too, but it's nice to see it in these videos as we're talking to customers out there and potential companies to see that, so extremely well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
One more quick question, and Justice might have mentioned this, Kim, at one point, and I just don't recall. The number of workers they're looking for, I know probably the sky's the limit, but is there an immediate goal?
To my understanding, there's been a 25% growth in employment since 2018, so this is a growing industry. In touring these facilities, there's definitely a need there for skilled workers to come in to handle the processes, be part of not only the production, but also troubleshoot these machines. So there is definitely a need here.
Okay, thanks, Doug.
Absolutely. Thank you all very much, and I will turn that over to Dr. McCormick now.
I do want to, before we move on, I do want to add something, and it's about efficiency. If you see these videos, Doug did this all. We used to, those of you who are in this business, some of you may be, know how much these videos can cost, and we used to have to pay quite a bit of money to have this type of production done. So again, we're very thankful to get Doug on the team and on board.
Very cool. Any questions on this? Further questions? Our next item is the legislative update.
Yes. Thank you, Regent Kastner. As you all know, the legislature officially adjourned the 114th General Assembly on April 23rd. Over the course of the two-year session, the government relations team tracked more than 1,100 bills and resolutions, including many with direct implications for higher education, workforce development, and the TBR system. Today, we will provide an overview of several of those most notable bills we followed throughout the session, including key legislation that passed, proposals that generated significant discussion, and measures that could impact our colleges, students, employees, and system operations moving forward. So with permission, Regent Kastner, I would like to bring up Associate Vice Chancellor John Williams to walk you through these pieces of legislation now.
Certainly. Thank you.
And he will move quickly because there's several of them.
Thank you, Dr. McCormick, Chairman Kastner, members of the board, Chancellor Tidings. I won't go through all 1,000 bills that we tracked. I'll just have a selection that I'll highlight. And you've heard of many of these during the previous board meeting, but I'll kind of tell you where they ended up at this session. So first up, Public Chapter 761. That one's one you've probably heard about, one of the 10-year bills we saw this year, and this is the one that passed. Requires all public institutions of higher education in Tennessee to adopt and post policies that preserve institutional neutrality, free expression, and civil discourse on campus. The legislation also clarifies how faculty tenure and disciplinary processes should be structured, and specifically ensures that tenure decisions and disciplinary actions are treated as distinct. Public Chapter 701 is named the Charlie Kirk American Heritage Act, and it clarifies that faculty and instructors at public colleges and universities may include instruction on the role and influence of religion and American history as a part of broader American history coursework. The legislation also outlines 19 specific historical subjects that may be covered as a part of such instruction. Public Chapter 912 adds the classical learning test alongside the ACT and SAT in several areas of state law regarding scholarships, school accountability measures, college readiness assessments, and early college admissions pathways. Public Chapter 607 requires the Department of Correction to conduct annual education assessments for inmates serving sentences for felony offenses to determine their educational attainment and interest in continuing their education. The legislation also requires inmates to be informed about available educational programs and opportunities they may can seek. Public Chapter 799 revises the appointment structure for the Tennessee Higher Education Commission by reducing the number of appointments made by the governor and increasing those made by the speakers of the House and Senate. It also redefines on-time graduation for the purposes of the outcomes-based funding formula. It defines it as 2 years for community colleges and 4 years for universities. The legislation also limits the Commission's ability to approve institution-specific tuition increases to cases where an institution has demonstrated improvement in its on-time graduation rate. It also requires higher education governing boards to adopt a policy describing how revenues from out-of-state undergraduate tuition may be used to help mitigate tuition and fee costs for in-state students. Public Chapter 899 is a THEC cleanup bill that makes several technical updates to higher education statutes, including changes related to transfer pathways, reporting requirements, scholarship provisions, and outdated statutory language. It also includes updates related to transfer institutions and apprenticeship education programs. Public Chapter 975 caps at $10 million per fiscal year the total amount of funds in the Lottery for Education account that may be transferred to the Tennessee Promise Scholarship Special Reserve account. Public Chapter 894 reduces the time frame for state agencies to pay invoices under contract from 45 days to 30 days when no payment terms are otherwise specified. It also requires annual reporting on late payments and unpaid interest beginning in 2027. Public Chapter 768 prohibits state agencies and political subdivisions, including public higher education institutions, from contracting with certain foreign adversary companies for information and communications technology products and services. The amended version broadens the scope of the covered technology, removes previous federal compliance exemption, and requires vendors to certify compliance as part of the procurement process. Public Chapter 831 requires public colleges and universities to adopt free expression and institutional neutrality policies modeled on the University of Chicago principles. This was the Charlie Kirk Act that we saw this year. It prohibits institutions from disinviting speakers or restricting invited speakers based on viewpoint or anticipated protests. It also includes protections related to academic freedom and prohibits retaliation against faculty based on protected speech or scholarly viewpoints. The legislation also defines certain disruptive protest activities and establishes expectations around maintaining access to campus events and speakers. Public Chapter 1052 is the Riley Gaines Women's Safety and Protection Act. It establishes statutory definitions related to biological sex and applies those definitions across state law. For public institutions of higher education, the bill requires multi-occupancy restrooms, changing rooms, and student housing assignments to be designated on the basis of sex. It provides privacy and accommodation requirements and creates a private cause of action for certain violations of the Act. Public Chapter 1083 requires the executive head or president of each public institution of higher education to submit an annual attestation to the comptroller confirming compliance with state law prohibiting discriminatory DEI preferences. The bill also authorizes the Attorney General to investigate alleged violation of those laws by state entities. Public Chapter 938 requires public colleges and universities to revise rules, policies, and guidelines that reference sex or gender to align with statutory definitions based on biological sex at birth. The bill also establishes a comptroller complaint process and escalating sanctions for noncompliance, including potential withholding of state funds, while clarifying that institutions are not required to adopt policies that would violate federal law. Public Chapter 877 requires state entities to use the term Judea and Samaria instead of the West Bank in certain official state materials and communications. For higher ed, specifically, the bill specifies that it does not apply to classroom instruction, lectures, research, or other academic expression by faculty. However, it does apply to official institutional and administrative materials such as catalogs, course descriptions, and publications. Public Chapter 1106 requires state and local government entities to verify that adults applying for public benefits are either U.S. citizens or lawfully present in the country. It also requires certain reporting to the state related to individuals receiving benefits who are not lawfully present, and authorizes enforcement actions, including potential withholding of state funds for entities found to be out of compliance. And then I'll go through a few of the bills that did not end up advancing that you may have heard about this year. Senate Bill 1025, House Bill 912. These are the tenure bills that we saw that did not end up passing. This first, I got ahead of myself. This one would have created the new associate degree teacher license for grades K through 8 and allow community colleges to serve as education preparation providers. That one did not end up moving forward. It passed in the House but didn't get put on notice in the Senate. Senate Bill 1967, House Bill 1838 would have required LEAs in public charter schools to give all high school students, not just seniors, the opportunity to take a nationally recognized career readiness assessment, and this was the ACT Work Keys assessment. It also originally directed TBR to create a framework to allow students who earn a credential through Work Keys to receive credit, but we worked with them and they amended that part out of the legislation, but it ended up getting taken off notice when it got to finance. The next slide, these were the pieces of legislation I mentioned before that were impacting tenure. Senate Bill 1838, House Bill 2581 would have prohibited public higher education institutions and systems from granting new tenure to faculty members beginning on July 1 of this year. So that one was taken off notice. As well as the next one, Senate Bill 1899, House Bill 1894, would have allowed a public college or university to suspend a faculty member, including tenured faculty, without pay while an investigation or termination hearing was underway. And that's the one that would also require presidents or CEOs of an institution to appointed on or after July 1 of this year to be confirmed by both houses of the General Assembly. So both of those were pulled off notice. Senate Bill 2208, House Bill 2198 would have enacted the DEI Compliance Certification Act and required state agencies and public higher education institutions to annually certify compliance with state law prohibiting DEI practices. It also would have required reporting on steps taken to remove DEI initiatives authorized by the Attorney General to investigate alleged violations and reports findings to the Governor and the General Assembly. Senate Bill 2331, House Bill 2216, sought to make several changes to the state procurement oversight and fiscal review committee procedures. It expanded the types of non-competitive contracts subject to mandatory fiscal review, adjusted contract submission and review timelines, and updated procurement and reporting deadlines. And then finally, Senate Bill 2634, House Bill 2167 would have required all public institutions of higher education to observe an academic holiday on each general election day. This was a bill brought by a student at UT. It moved forward, but then at the last minute it got pulled off notice. And then there were several bills this session proposed to expand higher education affordability and financial aid opportunities. These measures included proposals related to tuition and fee waivers for certain families of first responders, expanded in-state tuition eligibility for military-affiliated students and families, and then additional pathways for students to regain eligibility for lottery-funded scholarships. None of these ended up getting all the way across the finish line this year either. And then finally, several bills this session sought to expand who could carry firearms on college and university campuses. One proposal would have removed the current criminal prohibition on carrying firearms at public and private higher education institutions that are not K-12 schools. So both of those bills didn't end up making it all the way this year either. But that concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
I don't have a question, but a comment. And I want to publicly thank John, Kim, and the entire team that worked on following these bills. When John started, he alluded to over 1,000 that they were tracking. This is a tremendous job every session, and they do it incredibly well. They have a large support team out that helps them with the tracking, and Brian gives legal advice as we're looking through this all the time. But as you can imagine, it is 24/7 trying to make sure that we are on top of this.
It is an unbelievable amount of work. You're absolutely right, Chancellor. This concludes our agenda. Is there any further business to come before the committee? Hearing none, the Committee on External Affairs for the TBR is now adjourned.
Thank you, Regent Kastner. Good reports all. And we'll look forward to hearing more about the website development project as that rolls along. Regent George, Committee on Workforce Development. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Vice Chair. Rounding third and heading home, and we shouldn't be long here. I'm calling the Committee on Workforce Development to order. Secretary Perry, please call the roll.
Regent Branscombe.
Here.
Chairman George.
Here.
Regent Spurgeon.
Here.
Regent Stevenson. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. So we will proceed. We'll proceed first with informational updates, and I want to call on Executive Vice Chancellor for External Affairs, Kim McCormick, to begin with the first of several informational updates the committee will hear today, beginning with TBR's support of 10 Works.
Thank you, Chairman George. Mariah, why do you always make me last when we do these agendas? I'm always the one hurrying through, but we'll be quickly. We will. We are very excited today to bring you updates from the Center for Workforce Development. Our agenda will be, we're going to talk about TBR's support of Tennessee Works, the 25-26 THEC reporting cycle, TDOT Workforce Development Partnership, and the update on Ford and Blue Oval City. At your request, Regent George, we're going to be doing that. And I am going to talk to you just briefly about Tennessee Works and where we are. As you all know, Governor Lee officially launched Tennessee Works at the Governor's Conference in November of 2025. This interagency coordination hub is designed to provide one communication point for all stakeholders. As we have presented before, TBR and the Center for Workforce Development play a vital role in the collaborative effort to make Tennessee the #1 state in the country for economic success for both business and residences. Phase 1 of the implementation of the process of Tennessee Works included establishing the foundations for the Workforce Hub, creating leadership teams and hiring personnel, Chancellor Tidings serves on the executive leadership team along with the leaders of ECD, DOL, DOE, DHS, and THEC. The executive leadership team crafted the strategic vision for Tennessee Works. Dr. Sisk and I are on the core leadership team, and we're responsible for helping to shape the operational side of Tennessee Works. And after serving as the interim director for a while, many of us know him. The Tennessee Works recently announced the appointment of Brooks Young as the executive director. He has since hired 2 additional employees to staff the operation. So phase 2 of the implementation now involves scaling the initiative by increasing employer engagement and growing workforce participation. With your permission, Regent George, I will ask Dr. Sisk to now provide a brief look at how TBR is supporting that effort through our regional workforce coordinators.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. McCormick.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. McCormick, Vice Chair Reynolds, Committee Chair George, Chancellor, fellow members of the board. A couple of years ago, Dr. Deaton and Dr. McCormick authored a state appropriation request entitled Creating a Multi-Generational Workforce Pipeline based on findings and the results of the statewide convening that we did a couple of years ago at Vol State. Earlier, you heard Dr. McCormick reference the workforce pipeline funds. That's what that was. And so we got a recurring state appropriation funded by the General Assembly, including the state budget, is $2.273 million annually. With that money, we're doing a lot of things, including marketing programs, but we also upgraded and fully staffed out the Center for Workforce Development, including 3 regional workforce talent pipeline strategists, 1 per division, who one of their many responsibilities is to support TeamWorks projects across the state. Let me give you a couple of examples. Over in West Tennessee, I don't know if it falls within the Greater Jackson Regional Chamber, but Crockett County Chamber is actively involved in Hitachi in Alamo, Tennessee, in rural West Tennessee. They recently announced a $100 million CapEx, adding 90-plus jobs in Crockett County. They manufacture electrical transformers, those big electrical transformers, for multiple applications, but including for nuclear power plants. So it checks a couple of boxes right there for us. TCAT Northwest and Dyersburg State are a major part of the workforce development plan for this project. Ryan Griffin is our strategist in West Tennessee that's helping them manage this from the board level. Dyersburg State is going to be developing an AMT, Advanced Maintenance Tech Co-op program, modeled after what Jackson State does. TCAT Northwest is going to implement a very niche wiring harness manufacturer association soldering credential. They just sent a couple of faculty members out to go to a train the trainer. My office is paying for all of that training, as well as an in-house machinist apprentice program there. So I told Dr. Jones at lunch that I'm helping fund some of that equipment. So Dr. Cook at Dyersburg State, breaking news, I'm helping to fund what Dyersburg State is doing out of that workforce talent money as well. Nuclear is the other example I want to give you. As you would imagine, there's a lot of work going on in the nuclear space for TBR as well as TNWorks. So we're marketing our technical programs there. Will Watson is our East Tennessee strategist, marketing that project. Phase 1 for nuclear is working with Teresa Duncan and Dr. Joe Steinbach at Roane State Community College to build out some radiation and nuclear discovery labs where they can take these are portable equipment conducting experiments, simulating nuclear tasks, used to showcase the nuclear workforce sector to middle and high school students and how our colleges can prepare those students for these jobs in the nuclear sector. Phase 2, which will come hopefully next year, depending on funding, will expand on that, include nuclearizing the training at our TCATs as well to prepare TCAT students for specific nuclear jobs. So our office is supporting Roane State's work for that, again, with $150,000 worth of funding there. So this multi-generational workforce pipeline is in place. We just have to get more raw material into the pipeline, which is people, and train them up for those jobs. So Regent George, I'm going to stop there and I'll pause for any questions that you or the committee may have.
Any questions? Continue.
Thank you, sir. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the annual THEC workforce hours reporting cycle. As a reminder, the Complete College Tennessee Act requires Tennessee public community colleges and universities to be funded using a comprehensive outcomes-based funding formula. Since its inception, this formula has included a workforce hours training metric
at our community colleges to recognize the importance of supporting local workforce development efforts of our colleges. So these training activities are reported annually to my office, they're vetted, and then we send it on to THEC. And this slide outlines the reporting cycle, including we're moving the timeline up for reporting to accommodate THEC's request to do some audits of everything that's getting submitted. One important caveat on workforce training hours, and Regent Gentile can probably give me a thumbs up on this. For outcomes-based funding formula purposes, these workforce training activities cannot carry institutional credit towards a degree or other academic awards because double dipping is not allowed. It's a separate data element there. Doesn't mean we can't do some PLA later on and some other activities, but up front it has to be on the non-credit space. Another outcome from that statewide workforce convening that we did was the need for a common SIS, student information system, for our workforce offices at our community colleges. We're doing this now. Dr. Greg Schutz over in the Policy and Strategy Office is leading that work. Our office has invested over $220,000 in this effort to go to a common SIS. So why is THEC looking so hard at workforce hours and audits and pulling data? So next slide, please. Well, the reason they're doing that is because according to their estimated distribution analysis for the 26-27 fiscal year, there's going to be $28.5 million going through the budget formula just because of workforce hours to our community colleges, an estimated distribution there. It's a lot of money going through the workforce element there. I would say Walter State is leading the pack with an estimated $6.7 million into their appropriation because of their workforce training activities. A lot of great things going on there with apprenticeships and some of their partnerships there. Next slide, please. Just as a reminder, this is the slide that we shared last year, what we reported to the Workforce Committee. It was the first year that our system collectively has reported over 2 million workforce hours. We're incredibly proud of that and the work that our colleges do in that space. Once THEC finalizes the 25-26 numbers, according to the timeline we showed a little bit earlier, they'll do that on September 4th. I will then update this slide with a new column, and we'll share this out at the September board meeting, what those new hours are. Our goal as a system is always to have an increase of 4% every year. Some of our colleges are really at their capacity right now, so we're having to squeeze really hard to get to that point. Some of our colleges have room to do more. And those presidents, and we've talked, and they're doing a lot of reorging and some changes in some of their workforce offices. So everybody understands the importance of what we're doing there. So Regent George, I will pause again here for any questions that you or the committee may have.
Doesn't seem to be any.
Okay.
Continue with the TDOT workforce development.
Yes, sir. Next slide, please, Carol. Thank you. So TDOT ProPath is TDOT's in-house professional development initiative. Historically, TDOT had trained its own CDL drivers. However, recent changes at the federal level regarding oversight of CDL drivers and training programs and things, they decided they wanted to outsource it to TBR to do that training. They're streamlining their internal operations, and they reached out to us to help with this. To date, TDOT has graduated 9 transportation system workers who have gone through training, tested out, and they have their CDLs. There's another 44 currently enrolled in our programs all across the state. We're anticipating 143, that's the goal, Class A CDL drivers working for TDOT, new drivers trained at our TCATs across the state. We're also working now, launching a welding competencies workforce course for those transportation workers and TDOT as well. We expect around 300 TDOT employees to complete a 30-hour welding training course, various campuses all across the state. So we're excited about that as well. Lacey Kozan is managing that project for us. But the interagency agreement that Chancellor Tidings and TDOT Commissioner Reed signed has potential to generate a little over $800,000 in tuition for those colleges that are delivering that training. So we're excited about that. Regent George, I'll pause there if there's any questions.
I have a question.
I think this is wonderful. I'm curious, are these are current TDOT employees who are upskilling into new roles, or
recent hires and some current employees are upskilling to new roles. Yes.
Thank you.
And the federal requirements still matter as far as drug testing and having the permit and everything. So it's been an adventure.
So it only makes sense for TDOT to use TBR resources
Absolutely.
to its full advantage.
Yeah,
That's
just
great.
in some general conversations with them, they're saving money internally.
Yeah.
Not having trainers and
Use our own
testers and
resources.
things.
That's fantastic. Any other questions for Dr. Sisk?
Roughly, how many students does that represent? It's 267,000 a year, I guess, in tuition. How many students would that be, do you think? Just roughly.
So about $2,100 per student in a truck driving program. The welding program will be about $3,300 per cohort of 10 students. So the truck driving training is a per student charge because they're going through a 4-credit truck driving program. The welding training will be a workforce training a cohort of up to 10 at a time at $3,300.
So roughly 100 students, I guess, per year.
Yeah, depending on the program.
Round number.
Yes, sir. Okay. And it'll be a 3-year, it's a 3-year agreement.
Anybody else for Dr. Sisk? So Dr. Sisk, being from West Tennessee, I'm anxious to get an update on Ford and Blue Oval City.
So hopefully Regent Spurgeon will chime in on this as well. And Regent George asked me to talk a little bit briefly about Ford and Blue Oval City. I think everyone's well aware that Ford is retooling their assembly plant at Blue Oval City to accommodate an internal combustion engine. We call it ICE, an internal combustion engine, and rather than an electric vehicle, and removing those components on the electric vehicles. So Ford's branding for this, they're not saying what model truck it is or what they're doing, but they're going to call it Built Ford Tough truck models. That's just what they're saying for now. The name of the assembly plant there at Blue Oval City has been changed from the Tennessee Electric Vehicle Center, or TFC. They're calling it the Tennessee Truck Plant now. Manufacturing is, as Ford says, is scheduled to begin in 2029. They don't say in the first quarter, second quarter, third, they just say 2029. The original battery partner there, it was a joint venture. They're separating all out, a lot of legalese there. The original battery partner there was SK On. They're still going to be there once the joint venture is dissolved, and it should be by now. They're going to change their name to SK Tennessee. They're still going to occupy that part of Blue Oval City. They're still going to make electric vehicle batteries, but for other Ford plants. There's an EV Ford Transit van plant up in Ohio that they'll, and also other EV manufacturers like Nissan, they'll make batteries for them. They're also going to expand and do some large battery arrays for backup power for data centers as well. So they're kind of expanding into that space a little bit as well. Between Ford and SK, they're still expected to have 5,800 employees at that site. And a lot of the tier 1 suppliers will still be there. So you think about the ripple effect of Ford going from a battery powered vehicle to an internal combustion engine vehicle. They're having to retool, which means a lot of the tier 1 suppliers are having to retool as well. So it just takes a little time to get that in the work stream. TCAT Jackson Stanton campus, which is adjacent to Blue Oval City, is currently open, offering relevant instruction in critical areas. So it doesn't matter whether you're making electric vehicles or an internal combustion engine vehicles. You still need multi-craft maintenance technicians. You still need tool and die makers and machinists and welders and production employees. So those programs there are relevant no matter what type of truck that they're going to make there. They are going to teach out the electric vehicle production technician program, but the skills that those grads have are still relevant in other production areas as well. Talked to Dr. Rainey a few months ago, kind of in the interim. They do want to start a nursing program, an LPN program there to help fill the space that's there. And last time I talked to Dr. Rainey, she has a dual enrollment agreement with Fayette County Schools and Fayette Ware High School. There's 60 dual enrollment students going to come from Fayette Ware High School to that campus to train on that campus in a dual enrollment arrangement. So kudos to Dr. Rainey for hustling and getting that done. So both Ford and SK On have a presence at that Stanton campus, the TCAT campus. They include limited staff and training equipment, and TCAT Jackson faculty members are still helping with the onboarding and equipment training for both Ford and SK. They need that campus for these tasks because they really have no room in their plants to do this. So the spirit of the agreement is still going on. We're just building a different type of truck.
So a question, any retooling for the Stanton TCAT facility?
Other than to teach out that EVPT program and look for what other types of programs we could stand up there, there's really not major on the retooling side.
I do have a question. So regarding that, so originally Chancellor Tykes, it was a lot of training for Blue Oval City. So when you say they're retooling those students to be taught on the TCAT campus for combustion engine work, to be able to work at the facility now?
Regent Branscombe, our current agreement with Ford and SK is to help them with what they call NEO, New Employee Orientation. So it's a lot of Ford and SK specific safety plans and production systems and things like that. So the Ford production system, I think they call it FPS. They're just going to change the work orders or the work instructions for the stations for the students themselves who are Ford employees as they're going through NEO. And SK is going to be the same way. But the industrial maintenance side of it isn't going to change much at all. A machine's a machine. It's AC fundamentals, DC fundamentals. It's just going to be applied in a little bit of a different way. So we got two streams of students, Ford and SK students who are there to learn specific job tasks in the plant, and we have new students coming into the TCAT to train who aren't Ford employees or are hoping to get on with either Ford, SK, or one of those suppliers who are going to land there as well.
And Regent Branson, I think maybe to answer a little bit more, you're saying we did not have a lot of students going through that were EV only during that time. Well, primarily what we had been doing was new hires for the company, but the training that we're doing, just the mechanical part of that will go on, and students will be ready to go to work in the plant when they open up. So
right, that's what I was asking. Thank you.
Sure.
Sure glad to see that Blue Oval is going to continue to have as big an impact on West Tennessee as originally anticipated.
Yeah, it's huge. We're excited.
Yep. Any other questions for Dr. Sisk?
Thank you.
Thank you. So this concludes the Committee on Workforce Development, and so we stand adjourned.
Thank you, sir. Good reports, and thank you for adding Blue Oval City. That was very helpful to hear. Thank you. So, Chancellor, I'm going to call on you in just a second. Dr. Jackson, if you want to, there she is, make your way up. For the board, committee reports and materials for tomorrow morning's meeting will be available on the TBR website later today. And for the committee chairs, a copy of your committee report will be at the front desk of the hotel as we return from dinner tonight. We will begin tomorrow morning promptly at 9 a.m., where we'll have the privilege to hear from President Jackson about all things Nashville State, TCAT Dixon, and the TCAT here in Nashville. And then, of course, immediately following that presentation, the board meeting will begin hopefully by 9:30 tomorrow morning. Dr. Jackson, what do we need to know? And we thank you. And Natalie Olson, who I know has taken the lead with you. I know this is hard to do, but we are so grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'm so glad you mentioned Natalie's name. Her and Kathleen Duff and the team have just been incredible. So, before we depart, I have a few details to share with you. You are invited to join us at the hospitality suite, featuring a chef-inspired small bites, as well as beverage service at the Hilton Garden Inn on West End. We'll have 1 hour from 5 to 6, and then again from 9 to 10 this evening. The suite is located on the second floor. Everyone is welcome, and if you are not a hotel guest, there is a small parking fee. Parking rates and the hotel address is in your welcome packet. Our dinner will take place at Nissan Stadium. So we want to remind you, be sure to change into comfortable shoes because it is a construction zone for the new stadium. Will require walking. We're going to be at the old stadium, not the new stadium. I'm going to make sure it's correct. But we will have to walk just a little bit. So please wear comfortable shoes. You are encouraged to take the Gray Line buses that we're providing from the hotel to the stadium. Bus loading begins at 6 p.m. at the street level outside the hotel, and buses will return to the hotel by 9 p.m. If you are driving to the stadium, parking is available on the west side of the stadium in lots G and M at no cost. You can pick up a map at the check-in table on your way out towards the parking lot. Our amazing Nashville Roots Music Ensemble will provide entertainment tonight during the reception and dinner. 2 drink tickets are already located on your name badges for refreshments. Finally, if you're staying at the hotel, we encourage you to enjoy a complimentary breakfast in the dining room, which is also located on the 2nd floor, and they'll be open between 6:30 and 8:30. Light pastry items and coffee will be available here on campus, starting at 8 o'clock in the hospitality area. Thank you.
Thank you. One quick question. Those small plate culinary bites in the hospitality suite tonight?
Yes.
Are those prepared by our culinary
They
students?
are not.
They are not, okay.
We were actually hoping to host in September, and we would have had the dinner at our Southeast campus, and our culinary students would have provided, but they're not on campus.
That makes
And they
sense.
are at our Southeast campus and not this one.
Okay,
so.
our timing's a little off.
Yes.
All right, still sounds delightful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much for everything. Chancellor, any comments before we close here for the day?
Well, just to wrap up by thanking again Dr. Garrett, Dr. Jackson, and Dr. Travis for hosting us. That was a wonderful ribbon cutting today at TCAT Nashville. We're so proud of that building and all that that stands for and the growth that it represents. We look forward to a great evening tonight and a full day tomorrow. So thanks to everyone for your attention and time to the details. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much. We did move efficiently today. We have a full morning tomorrow, including the Chancellor's report, which I know we all look forward to. So with that, is there any further business to come before the board this afternoon? Hearing none, we'll see you bright and early. We'll see you in a few for an enjoyable evening. We are adjourned. Thank you all.